So, you're looking for a camera. Whenever you stop taking photos and videos just for fun or capturing piece of your memories, and you want to take photos and videos just a bit more serious, and you feel like iPhones and Androids have certain amount of limitations, I have a camera just for you. Even if you're beginner or pro, I think a lot of us still appreciate relatively affordable, small form factor prosumer hybrid camera. Hybrid meaning you can shoot both photos and videos. And there's a ton of good cameras with compelling price point in these days. However, what if I tell you there's this one camera that can compete with other cameras that has double the price point of this camera, and also, it's in my pocket. This is Sony a7C II. This is literally the camera that I recommend to anyone in 2024, and let me tell you why. FYI, all the clips that you're gonna see in this video that I am not holding this camera, it's shot by this camera. So enjoy the video, let's get right into it. Also, in part of this video, I asked my friends what they recommend for a camera that's not iPhone, and all of them are well-known creators, so I think this video will help you guys a lot in terms of finding the best camera for you. So let's stop talking, let's get right into it. First and foremost, this camera is small. It's so small that it looks like an APS-C camera. However, it has an amazing sharp 33 megapixel full frame sensor in it. It also has a flip out screen, so it's great when you're shooting in many angles or checking yourself out when you're vlogging. The viewfinder is amazing since you can check the framing under harsh sunlight, dedicated video recording button, and easy yet simple dials to control the camera. It only has single SD card slot, so you can't back up the footage like the dual card slot on FX3 or A7 IV, but it is a very small camera, so you kind of have to sacrifice something. And speaking of sacrificing feature, the handle grip is also small as well, and this is the only thing I don't like about this camera is the handle grip, because I don't even have big hands, but this thing is hard to grip. So coming from FX3 and A7 III, this is a bit hard, but you'll get used to it. All right, let's talk about the most important thing about cameras as a videographer, which is video quality. But from this super tiny body, you can shoot a similar 422 10-bit S-Log 3 footage just like FX3. And to be honest, I'm constantly using this camera over FX3 when I'm going to travel or when I'm vlogging or doing some, like, you know, my personal stuff. And when I'm doing a big client shoot, I'm using the FX3. But to be honest, when you're just looking at the footage, like straight out of the camera, it looks kind of same. So as I mentioned, this camera can shoot 422 10-bit with 14 to 15 stops of dynamic range. And you can also shoot S-Gamut 3 Cine, which is my favorite color profile on S-Log 3. And with a combination of crazy autofocus on Sony's camera, this thing is like a beast. Because of the latest AI chip, it will recognize human, animal, bugs, airplane, etc. It's kind of crazy. And this AI processing is so accurate. I was shooting on f1.4 and it catches up on autofocus. In addition, it has 5-axis active stabilization in it as well. So the stabilization on itself is pretty crazy as well. And not only that, if you use a lens like this 24-105 OSS, the stabilization is on next level. So right now I'm shooting with Sigma 600mm on the a7C II with a tripod with active stabilization on. So this is the setup. I got the Sigma 150 to 600mm with optical stabilization on with active stabilization on a7C II as well. Of course, it's on a tripod because, you know, with a 600mm, you gotta need a tripod. And I am also shooting in 60 frames per second, so that will make 1.5 time crop. So I don't even know, I can't even do the math right now because I'm pretty overwhelmed with how zoom in this footage is looking like, but the cherry blossom is looking pretty amazing, and yeah, wonderful day. But not everything is amazing for video. First, there's no dual ISO. Dual ISO meaning that even if you increase the ISO in the certain amount that camera has the dual native ISO in it, you can shoot image in low light situation without any noise. And this camera doesn't have it, so if you increase the ISO to around 6400, you will get noise. And to be honest, in the lower light situation, not pitch dark, midnight, no street lights type environment, but if you have certain amount of city lights, this camera will perform really good. And especially if you have a lens that has faster aperture of f1.8 or f1.4, I don't have a big problem with the ISO, but just letting you guys know that there's no dual native ISO. And the second is 1.5 time crop while you're shooting 60 frames per second. Once again, this is not a huge problem. Once you get kind of used to the f1.5 time crop while you're shooting 60 frames per second, sometimes it can be useful. You literally have two lenses and one camera, and you're not really sacrificing the video quality, so don't worry about 4K being 2.8K or something. It's still 4K and it's still very sharp. But let me take a quick break and let me ask other creators that which camera they recommend for beginners that's not an iPhone. Okay, what's your recommended very first camera that's not iPhone?
I think right now, if you're gonna go on the market, you might as well get 10-bit. I think there's two cameras, maybe the A7C II if you're gonna take some photos. But I think for video, the FX30 is an APS-C. I think it's crop sensor. It's almost as good as the FX3. You get the best bang for your buck on that. I know a lot of people shoot client work on that video camera. I'd recommend it.
I'd say go full frame. I'm a full frame guy. So either the R5 or the R6, depending on how much money you have, just because like stills matter a lot to me, and in my opinion, we really don't need as much video capability. Sue me, I said it, R5 or R6, depending on how much money you have.
All right, Mr. Sam, since you're a photographer, what's the best first camera for photography that's not iPhone?
I think I would go for something like the Canon R or RP, or like a Sony, what is it, 6400 or something. I think that's a good camera to start with.
What's the best lens, like focal length?
I would go for a 24-70 if it's your first lens, you know. You got the 24, you can go all the way 70.
I think you guys don't really know about me, but I'm also a photographer as well. So let me talk about the photo capability of this camera as well. This 33 megapixel sensor is amazing for photography. You can crop the photo and the photo will still look pretty crispy, and the result is not terrible as 12 megapixel video dedicated camera, just like A7S III or FX3. And because this product can shoot 10 frames per second at max, it's still decent when you're taking photos of moving object. Like these photos of car drifting, I shot these photos with Sigma 150 to 600 mil, and the autofocus catches up not bad at all. The car was drifting around 40 to 60 kilometers per hour, and I was able to just capture it without any issue. Going back to the body size, but since this camera is so small when you combine it with lens such as 24mm f2.8G, the normal G, this camera can literally be alternative of Fuji X100VI or like a Q3. I mean, these are totally different spectrum of cameras, but I'm just saying that not only this camera is a great hyper camera, but it can also be a hobby camera as well. And lastly, I forgot to mention about the battery life, but the battery life is great. If I charge it to 100%, I can usually go through a day if I'm just using it as a hobby camera. But even the days I'm actually shooting full day, I'll probably need like maybe 2 batteries to go through. And yeah, the battery life is excellent. But anyway guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys like this video, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. But if you guys have any question regarding to this A7C II, just let me know in the comments so I can answer them. Also, shout out to all the homies that answered my question and also appear in this video. I'll put all their links in the description so you guys can check them out as well. Anyway guys, see you guys in the next video. My name is Peace Kids and you guys already know. Peace out.